So something absolutely insane happened this past weekend in the world of Destiny, and since I cover the Destiny community stories and other gaming stories, I figured I'd talk about this one too. So what happens when a game mode focused around player versus player gunfights in the most intense and competitive setting has the best rewards in the game for winning 7 matches in a row? What happens when that player population hits an astounding low? What happens when the mode is such a turnoff to active Destiny 2 players because of being frozen, cheaters, DDoSers, etc.? Well, win trading, of course. Win trading is not anything new. No. In fact, win trading has always been a part of any game with multiplayer, and especially games with rewards tied to commitment and some form of skill. Recently, the Destiny community was hit with some pretty damn dumbfounding news, and one that I will leave a timestamp directly to if you don't really care about any context. But this story is absolute insanity and definitely worth your time, so let's get into it. Some footage in this video is from players around the community. Their links will be in the description of this video, as well as the music too. Feed the algorithm with likes, comments, subs, shares, etc. Thank you guys, the algorithm stays hungry. For you to understand how win trading got to the point where it was this past weekend, and so crazy that Bungie shut down the game mode while they work on a fix, you need to understand a few of many core issues that players in Destiny 2 have with the game mode Trials of Osiris. We may have already covered the game mode in a different video, but in case you missed that one, here's a quick refresher. Trials of Osiris is a 3 vs 3 multiplayer elimination mode only available from Fridays till the weekly reset of Tuesday. Every single week in Destiny, it is available. Trials in Destiny 2 works by giving the player rewards for winning a certain amount of games, with the best rewards in a trip to a closed off and special social space called the Lighthouse. If, and only if, your team achieves 7 wins in a row without losing once. The mode on paper is a fantastic idea, but it is easily broken because it's dependent on a few factors. The first factor is the sandbox. If it's run by ice and freezing abilities that make the game less about guns and more about being frozen, which leads to wildly unpredictable and uncontrollable outcomes, where the method of winning is freeze before being frozen. If the player population is low due to not being enticed by rewards, fatigue of the mode late into a season, the map choice for the week since Trials works by only using 1 a week, or the sandbox itself controlling the fun factor, players may not want to hop in general. The stability of the mode and player population also lends to a lot of cheaters taking over Trials since there's less players to mitigate the annoyance of running into them. The low player population also lends to normal players facing insanely talented players on recovery accounts, since people who don't want to stress pay for others to get the rewards for them by signing into their accounts. The final factor I will talk about for the context of this video is the card-based matchmaking system. Trials of Osiris works on a card-based system, which means that the amount of wins you have should match the opposing team's wins. This sounds great in concept, especially if you're on that win number 6 and you need that 7th one. It's going to be an ultra competitive game. But unfortunately, with the other factors we have listed, these all become a wheel that is either turning perfectly or falls completely flat. Now, there are other videos out there that do a much better job breaking everything down with Trials and what's wrong at the moment, but I just wanted to include context as to why our main topic of today happened in the first place. So now that you know, let's meet the Hakke Casino Conspiracy. Recently in Trials of Osiris and other matchmaking systems like Competitive Crucible, Bungie added a way for players to join back a game in progress if they disconnected. A very nice quality of life improvement to the experience. However, one oversight was definitely not taken into account. YouTuber Lunar Rated, who I will credit for discovering this whole conspiracy, found that, quote,
last weekend, which was Exodus Blue, was the first step of Bungie allowing people to join back into Trials games on different characters. So you could swap characters, you could join on that. even someone else that wasn't in your game at the start could join. Jim down the road could join if you wanted. All you have to do is join the player you want. If they're in a trials game, it'll let you in. This is a cool concept from Bungie. However, it's led to a game-breaking discovery by some players.
Yes, a join in progress bug was found. Now, to anyone watching this, it may not seem like a huge deal at first, but when the biggest gamer brains in the room work together, it becomes a wild ride. The Chinese community was the first to discover this flaw in the game, and doing what gamers do best, got straight to work developing a way to systematically rob the lighthouse of all the loot. How formulaic was this though? I mean, it couldn't have been too crazy, right? It was so systematic and well planned out that for a whole week, players had been doing it under the radar. If you notice here, there's a pretty normal amount of players for a week with new loot to grind in trials. Over 304,000 players, with 60,000 of those players achieving flawless across all platforms. That's a pretty healthy proportion for a week where the best reward, the returning messenger pulse rifle, was a 3-win early reward, keeping everyone in the playlist a lot longer. On the other side, what I'm about to tell you next should make absolutely no sense. The following week, one of, if not the hardest maps to win, Exodus Blue, with the only desirable reward being at the lighthouse for going flawless. Why then is there a 49% increase in flawless players? Putting the reward at the end means teams are going to try even harder to win, and the matches become an absolute sweat fest. If I can anecdote my personal experience here, it's that I achieved flawless 5 times in the first week on Altar, but the second week only once on Exodus Blue. Something had to be going on, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. Was it the stasis? Was it the cheaters? Or was it this emblem? No, it had to be the recups, right? It couldn't be this emblem. As Lunar Rated explains,
all you need to do is use 2 Hakke emblems, 1 normal emblem. The person not using the Hakke emblem will be the messenger of the group, sort of. What they do, they add the other person on their team not using the Hakke. So I'll add an opponent, he's not using the Hakke emblem, I'm not using the Hakke emblem. I'll add him, I'll send him a friend request. And once we've done that, we're on each other's friends list. We go down to the random 1 out of 10. Basically, what happens here, this is beautiful. This is the casino of Destiny.
Interesting. Lunar's intel was able to fill us in on the deets. My investigation says the system worked like this. By using the messenger of the group, we'll call them the Revere or the non-Hakke, they make contact with the other Revere on the other team. The 2 Reveres add each other on their friends list and exchange in a sacred practice. A Steam/random 1 through 10. The player who drew the largest number won, and they agreed to get on with their business. Casino rules, after all. Going under the radar, the big number Revere lets his team know to hop on their main characters and join back in. This would never hurt them since they're on their burner account, and they took advantage of that join game in progress on their actual account that they wanted wins. The join game in progress loophole. Once joined back on their main accounts for the win, the losing Revere lets their boss know it's time to leave and vanishes into the shadows. One team comes out a victor, and the other team burns their card and starts fresh with no evidence of what just occurred. A job well done. There was no penalty to this either, since joining a team without the Hakke emblem meant burn the card and start over until you find a team with the emblem again. The plan was running smooth. Everybody was robbing the lighthouse blind, sipping on the finest mimosas out on their big yachts. Until Lunar Rated's video did the unthinkable. It started making waves on Reddit and Twitter. Trials report finding some odd data afterwards. and a certain emblem was sitting atop the flawless PC charts. Trials report found that, quote,
nearly 50% of players entering trials went flawless on PC this week. Seems a bit high, so we looked into it. It turns out that of the 23,661 flawless PC players so far, 11,281 or 48% have 0 kills this week. 16,300
69%, nice,
have 5 or less kills this week.
Now, that's something that may catch the eye of the Big B. Of the emblems used to obtain flawless, 3,146 of them on PC were our Hakke. The Destiny community exploded. Videos left and right being posted of the game were filling up the Hakke Win Traders. We found our problem. Trials goes down on Sunday, February 28th at 11:43 a.m. and Bungie begins an investigation. The Destiny community and all of the collective Hive Win trading minds were now locked out of Trials, locked out of their brand new yachts, locked out of the warehouse for distribution. This was the end of a golden era. The Trials of Osiris Hakke Win Trading Conspiracy. What a beautiful and short-lived mess. This was the result of an exploit in the game, but with the biggest brain idea behind it as to not get caught as long as possible. I think this is also what happens when a mode is in need of some desperate change and self-reflection. But I can't help but admire those who went for this. Sure, it can be seen as cheating the system, but at the same time, the way this was pulled off and the amount of teamwork needed to pull this off was extraordinary. So even though I don't agree with win trading, my hat's off to the method in which to achieve it to not be caught was there. If you guys did enjoy this video though, or if it didn't make sense or yada yada yada, and you want to let me know, a like would be greatly appreciated, as well as a subscription, and I'll be in the comments answering some questions. Credit to Lunar for breaking this initial story as well, and I will see all of you next time. Or will I? /random 1 through 10.
Cars gonna counter you?
Wait, you freeze off the map? Oh. Yes.
No! Oh!
Rezzing simulator there.
Exactly.
I am so discombobulated. Where is up? What the fuck? Bro! Holy shit, my brain!
Where?
Right in by the stick. Right
Oh,
there,
this
right
guy? Okay.
There. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, do it.
Alright.
When you need to grab an operator.
What the fuck?